Hello and welcome. This is the newsroom for today, Monday, May 24, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarsi TV in Bartikal. In the headlines, an 8-year-old girl, her grandmother, and her great-grandmother are killed after a car crashes into them on the Linden highway.
When he came out, I said, driver, really Ghana and the jaws. Now, he said, he don't know. And I said, driver, you mouth smelling like you're drinking.
Over 1,000 persons take COVID-19 vaccines as the first drive-through campaign is held. Another is planned for Independence Day. Meet some of the soldiers who are taking the climb 6,700 feet up Mount Ayanganna to plant the national flag for the country's 55th independence anniversary.
This flag means what it is to be the Guyanese.
And in sport, the Guyana Olympic Association to fund a 9-member delegation to attend the South American Championships, and the GOA urges athletes and coaches to get vaccinated. With the news, I'm Neil Marks. We're glad you could join us. We begin with a tragic story. An 8-year-old girl, her grandmother, and her great-grandmother were killed on Sunday night after a car reportedly driven by a fireman crashed into them. The driver fled the scene and angry relatives set the car on fire. Shakima Day has details.
A family of Kairuni Soesdijk Linden Highway was plunged into a state of mourning after 3 family members were killed on Sunday evening after a speeding car plowed into them. The driver behind the wheel, 39-year-old Kevin Bissett, who is reportedly a fireman of Rainbow City Mackenzie Linden, has since been arrested. The fatal accident claimed the lives of 8-year-old Akisa Jerome, her grandmother Melina Emmanuel, and great-grandmother Antonia Henry. According to police reports, Bissett was driving a black Toyota 212 bearing the number plate PHH 6228 when he lost control and collided with the left side curb of the road. Police said that the breathalyzer test was administered, but no alcohol was found in his bloodstream. The family, however, is not buying the report. The newsroom spoke to 16-year-old Ashanti Stoll, the granddaughter of Antonia Henry, who saw when the car crashed into her family. She also said she approached the driver after the incident.
After we was inside, my grandmother ended up, my uncle and my brother ended up going for buy something at the shop. And when she said, we go, I said, we go. Then when we walking going now, we was gaffing going out. When we reach out there now, we watch to see if they coming. We didn't see nobody coming, so she ended up sitting down on the road. She, my auntie, on the curve, right? So now, when we sit there now, when I watch, I see the car coming from Stong with a full speed. So the set time I said, Granny, get up and you come in, let me go in now. So by the time I say that, the car swear out and it gone to the car, park, and then it come in back. When I watch, he knocked my grandmother them, and after that, I see end up in the park. After the car knocked into them, he end up swearing out back and gone and end up parking. Yeah. And he came out? Yeah, when he came out, I said, driver, really Ghana and the jaws. Now, he said, he don't know. And I said, driver, you mouth smelling like you're drinking. He said, no, from there, I don't know where he gone.
Nearby, residents who heard the commotion rushed out and helped the family transport those who were injured to receive medical attention. The young woman's grandfather, 58-year-old Rodwell Jerome, and another cousin, 8-year-old Alina Ann Prasad, are currently hospitalized. Jerome is under observation at the Mackenzie Hospital, while Alina is currently in the intensive care unit at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Police have reported that the driver was proceeding at a fast rate of speed. The newsroom also understands that the relatives of those killed subsequently destroyed the vehicle involved in the accident. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Shakima Day.
Darshan Ramdani, the attorney that has filed an application to the High Court seeking the release of copies of the statements of polls and the statements of recount from the 2020 general and regional elections, on Monday said efforts by the Chief Elections Officer Keith Lewinfield to prevent the release of the documents is meritless. Ramdani is representing Commissioner of Police Nigel Hoppy and the Director of Police Prosecutions Sharilimar Ali Hack, who have requested the documents as they are needed to support criminal charges against Lewinfield and several others, including the Deputy Chief Elections Officer Roxanne Myers.
Up against arguments by Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield's attorney Nigel Hughes that the CEO has sole lawful custody of all of the statements of polls and statements of recount and can only release the documents in the context of an election petition, Darshan Ramdani said the legal custody concept in the Representation of the People's Act, which clothes Lowenfield, does not apply in this case because the matter is now criminal. He said, had the documents not been in the possession of the High Court, the Magistrates Court could have simply issued a warrant and have the documents seized. He has asked Chief Justice Roxanne George to dismiss the application by Lowenfield to be joined as a respondent, a matter that she will rule on come May 27, 2021. The Attorney General Chambers, the Guyana Elections Commission GECOM, and the Registrar of the High Court have all been named as respondents in the fixed date application. Ramdani said it is important that copies of the documents be released so that the criminal proceedings can be fair. Failing to provide copies would mean that the court may have to hear from thousands of returning officers who prepared the SOPs instead. The DPP and the Top Cup have also posited that the documents are needed to support several ongoing court cases in the Magistrates Court related to electoral fraud. The Police Commissioner and the DPP warned the Chief Justice to grant an order instructing the Registrar of the High Court, Suanna Lovell, to make photocopies of the SOPs and SORs in her possession. The Registrar is also being asked to certify that it is the true copies of the originals. There are a total of 2,339 SOPs and another 2,339 SORs. It was the Chief Justice who in January 2021 ruling ordered that the SOPs and SORs be handed over to the Registrar of the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice made the order to allow for the safekeeping of the documents which were expected to support arguments in an elections petition case. That petition has since been dismissed by the Chief Justice with at least one appeal filed. Among those currently before the court are Lowenfield, Myers, and the returning officer for District 4, Clement Mingo. They are joined in several charges by the chairman of the People's National Congress Reform, Walla Lawrence, and other party members. Having only served one term in government, the APNU-AFC coalition lost the elections and claimed widespread voter fraud at the polls but refused to release their copies of the SOPs to prove its claim that it had won the elections. The GECOM SOPs are key to settling the issue that arose after the March 2nd general and regional elections. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
4 months after Guyana sent its first and only set of positive COVID-19 samples to the Caribbean Public Health Agency to test for the presence of COVID-19 variants, Guyana is now trying to send additional samples to the body.
Guyana sent 10 positive COVID-19 samples to CARIFA in January so that the body could engage in genomic sequencing, a type of genetic analysis that would test for the presence of a variant of concern. It was found, however, that those samples were not any of the variants of concern. Recently, advisor on emerging viral diseases at the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, Dr. Jairo Mendez Rico, indicated that the P1 variant, which originated in Brazil, was confirmed in Guyana. But the local health authorities have indicated that they have not been able to confirm this.
We have sent 10 samples to CARIFA, or through CARIFA, to get it sequenced. And the results that we have from those 10 samples suggest that it's the normal variant that was circulating. Now, we don't have any evidence of any P1 variant, and that's why this is surprising. Now, whether or not we have variants circulating, that's a different question, because probably based on the epidemiology, as we have said before, severity of disease, deaths, and so forth, perhaps there is variants that are circulating, but we don't have that laboratory evidence. And the only way you can confirm that is when you do the sequencing.
So far, Guyana has recorded over 16,000 COVID-19 cases, and though only 10 were sent for testing, the health minister says efforts are being made to get more samples sequenced to determine whether there are variants in Guyana.
Well, we are going to engage them to see how we move forward. Because obviously if we're sending samples and we are not, the results that we just spoke about, if we're going to get things like that, then we need to fix that before we proceed.
In March, the health minister noted that the local authorities were informed that CARIFA had suspended its sequencing for COVID-19 variants. The health minister was unable to say whether the health authorities were informed when testing resumed, but he emphasized that Guyana will be engaging the body. When the newsroom reached out to CARFA via email, it was noted that testing for variants had been ongoing. There was no response to the question of when testing was suspended, but press releases from March and April indicated that variant testing was ongoing, and these were sent in response to the query from the newsroom. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Vashani Raghavir.
Guyana's vaccine storage capacity has been boosted with the donation of 5 freezers costing $72,000 from the United States. The freezers can store vaccines up to a temperature of about -80 degrees Celsius.
This particular donation represents a $72,000 US contribution. It's part of a larger program by the United States Humanitarian Assistance Program. So far, we've purchased over $150,000 in locally secured equipment to help Guyana address the pandemic. This is a small part of President Biden's overall commitment to working together with our partners throughout the globe to solve this pandemic through cooperation. We're using the COVAX facility under the UN, contributed $4 billion to that, and we look forward to doing more with Guyana and our other partners. Thank you so much.
And as you know, one of the most important components of managing vaccines is that you have to get an adequate cold storage system in place. And so with these freezers, it's going to complement our ultra-cold system, meaning that we can cater for vaccines that are at the lower temperature range. And so this would really enhance that capacity. But it didn't just happen like this, because we were engaged in a lot of discussions over the last several months. And our colleagues from the embassy here had assured us that they're going to help us with the relevant equipment. And today you're seeing the donation of these freezers.
When the newsroom returns, another drive-through vaccination campaign is planned for Wednesday after Saturday's event saw over 1,000 persons being vaccinated. Watching the newsroom, the Ministry of Health on Saturday held the country's first COVID-19 drive-through vaccination campaign on Saturday last. Here are some images from the event.
I think it's a good initiative. The staff of the ministry and the region, we have been discussing this for a while now, because we want to get more people, to make it more convenient for people to get their vaccines. And we thought about this idea where people can just be in the comfort of their vehicle, drive up, they would be able to get someone come to the vehicle, take their information, and then you drive to the next station and you get your vaccines. So we've thought about it, and I'm happy that it's working so effectively, because as of this morning, I can see a steady flow of vehicles coming through, which is a really good thing.
I think it's important that we have activities like this, because we recognize that vaccination is not a stationary activity, but we have to be able to be flexible enough to meet the needs of the people around the country. We are working towards herd immunity, so that means we have to go wherever the vaccination program takes us, and we have to do whatever it takes us to ensure that the people of Guyana remains protected. COVID-19 is here and will be here for a while, but that does not mean that the Guyanese population has to go through the same as many other countries who are having increasing numbers. We know for a fact that the more people we vaccinate, the better it will be for our country, and the sooner we'll be able to return to normalcy.
We have analyzed why we're not having the turnout that we would expect, and this is just an initiative that whereby we think that it's going to be much more accessible to the people of the country. And if people turn out the way we want them to and we're asking them to, then we would quickly achieve the number to have herd immunity. And therefore, to some extent, we can step out of the pandemic, be immunized, and we can return to our normal lives. Region 4 has the largest population of regionally in Guyana. And we're doing our best to take the vaccine to everyone. So apart from this here, what we would also be doing, we would be sweeping the region in that we would try to go from village to village, taking the vaccine so that everyone can have their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. And hopefully in very short order, perhaps we're looking at August to have our population fully immunized. So we're working diligently on that.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has said a total of 1,071 persons received the COVID-19 vaccines at the drive-thru.
We were able to do 931 first doses and 140 second doses. So I think it was one of those sites where we had the highest yield of people coming in and getting vaccinated. So I think that people like the idea of being able to drive up. It's very comfortable. You're in the comfort of your own vehicle. And the staff was very proactive in making sure that people felt comfortable. They got the information, then they moved to the next station and they got their vaccines and they waited for the 15 minutes. From the analysis that was done by the technical staff of the ministry, they felt that this is a very good way of getting people to come out and get their vaccines. And so because of that, on Wednesday, Independence Day, we are going to have another session at the stadium starting from 9 in the morning, and we'll go until 5. We wouldn't go till 9 like the last time, but until 5. So hopefully we can encourage people to come out and get their vaccines.
Late submissions by attorney Pratish Satram, who is representing Senior Superintendent Calvin Brutus in his complaints of discrimination in the promotion of police ranks, has further delayed a ruling in the matter.
Chief Justice Acting Roxanne George had set May 24, 2021 for a decision in the case against the Police Service Commission that the 2020 promotion of police officers was discriminatory. However, she could not move ahead with the ruling when the matter was heard on Monday because of untimely written submissions by attorney Pratish Satram. Instead, she upbraided Satram for not complying with the court's order to file his submissions on or before April 29, 2021. This would have allowed for replies by May 7, 2021, hereby allowing her time to make a ruling. When the matter was heard last on April 9, 2021, the Chief Justice had said that because parties were unable to reach an amicable solution outside the court, a speedy conclusion to the matter had become necessary. She accepted Satram's apology on Monday and has now set June 18, 2021 for clarifications and decision. But with his 25 pages written submission in her hand, Justice George said she was concerned with the relief being sought at paragraph 70. Satram has asked the court to declare that the practice of denying police ranks promotion because of pending disciplinary matters is unlawful. The Chief Justice said she considered that making such a declaration would be cross-cutting. She said making such a wide declaration would likely have implications for the Public and Teaching Service Commissions and even the Judicial Service Commission. In December 2020, Brutus moved to the High Court to block the promotions of senior officers, complaining that the Police Service Commission was acting unlawfully and irrationally. On 2 occasions, Attorney General Anil Nandlal had asked for an adjournment to allow him to explore the possibility of amicably resolving the matter between the PSC, the aggrieved and affected parties, and the Attorney General chambers. that never materialized.
When the newsroom returns, we hear from some of the soldiers who are taking the very special but tough expedition to plant the golden arrowhead on Mount Ayanganna for Guyana's 55th anniversary. You're watching the newsroom. Every year since Guyana gained independence in 1966, a group of soldiers make the grueling but noble expedition to plant the national flag, the golden arrowhead on Mount Ayanganna, one of the highest peaks in the country. This year's expedition, in celebration of the country's 55th independence anniversary, began on Sunday, and you can well imagine what it means for the group of soldiers who are on this year's expedition. On Sunday, I joined them on the first leg of the journey. The month of May is not the best time of the year to fly into the highlands of Guyana. The start of the rainy season can be tricky, a matter of life and death, even for Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, an Army captain who has been flying for 37 years.
That's where you can't play with. You can't play with that at all. Because sometimes you come and it just gets down on you and you're doing well.
Thankfully, we are aboard the Bell 412, the latest acquisition by the Army. It's built for harsh and demanding environments, and its features include high-resolution maps and terrain data. Captain Mike Charles, along with Lieutenant Colonel Courtney Byrne, the GDF Air Corps commanding officer, took us across the incredible Pacaraima Mountains of western Guyana.
And the highlands start from here. It goes all the way almost to the Venezuela border. I wish we get some sunlight, boss. Wish.
The Pacaraima Mountains, near Guyana's border with Brazil and Venezuela, are a landscape of dramatic tabletop mountains, stretching some 250 miles across, measuring east to west. The rivers that you'd come across plunge off immense cliffs to form some of the most spectacular waterfalls anywhere.
But this is you're here a good day, sir. I will tell you something. I have never seen it this big. I have never seen this falls this powerful.
How often have you come to these parts, Mike?
Say again, sir?
How often have you come to these parts?
We fly this place very often. Neil, check out this one. Neil, you got a lot of money to pay me, boss. Got a lot of money to pay me.
We're headed to Chai Chai, a small village, to meet the 15 soldiers who will undertake the trek up Mount Ayanganna, part of the Pacaraima Mountains. They'd already been flown in. Once on the ground, they get the necessary briefing.
Your brothers and sisters, your cousins don't have this privilege. And I want you to understand or recognize how privileged you are. Our Commander-in-Chief is very much involved in this activity today. He's very much interested in us, showcasing the Guyana Defense Force, and we want you to make us proud.
Before seeing the officers off, Lieutenant Colonel Denzel Carmichael, Staff Officer Operations and Training in the Defense Headquarters, gives the final charge to Sub-Lieutenant Brian Canterbury, who is leading this year's expedition.
I expect you to demonstrate great leadership on this mountain. You, the 2IC, remember next year, you will be leading. So take all the copious notes to ensure that you are quite tuned up to lead your patrol next year. Gentlemen, wish you Godspeed on this patrol. Looking forward to hearing the messages from you to commemorate our independence on the night of the 25th. Alright? Stay safe, do the right thing, understand where you are at all times, don't let nature get the best of you. Alright? Godspeed.
With that, Officer Canterbury and the others gear up for takeoff. They'll be taking the short flight to the foot of Mount Ayanganna, from where they will begin to trek up the mountain, a journey of 6,700 feet.
This is a big, very powerful machine.
These soldiers joined the Army for different reasons. Some to explore Guyana, others seeking training and better opportunities in life. But no other reason greater than love for country. Sub-Lieutenant Canterbury is the one ultimately responsible for hoisting the flag of Mount Ayanganna on the eve of independence in time for the anniversary on May 26. From Linden, he joined the Army just 5 years ago.
Initially, I was at the infantry, but now I'm at the Coast Guard, and now I'm having my stint at the training corps. These are former students that I trained, and now I'm taking them to Mount Ayanganna.
Tell me, when this mission was given to you, what did you think about it?
Well, first thing I wondered is if I was up to the challenge, and then I prepared myself for the challenge. I heard that the terrain is going to be very testing. However, once we stay together and each of us plays our part, we're going to succeed.
Lance Corporal Shane Pearson is thrilled to be part of the mission on this significant independence anniversary.
I've heard about this mission from time to time. It happens once a year, which is independence, and I'm very excited to be here on this mission because it's my first on Mount Ayanganna.
Others are very experienced. Sergeant Guy Nash has been in the Army for 21 years. From the North Rupununi, this is the 11th time climbing Mount Ayanganna.
This is the mountain foot, they call it the mountain foot, the chopper pad. But when you go, you have to meet where the mountain starts to ascend, right? And then you go up. Then you meet a second shelf. Then you go on a flat ground for like 3 kilometers. Then you climb again. Well, this one will be more steep, like, you know, you start climbing, you have to take your time. It has rocks. Be careful where you place your foot as you go up. But it's wet. As you can see, the cloud always there, and it just keep coming all the time. A minute you might have a sun like this here, and another minute it's gone, covered. There's stuff up there. The weather cold.
All of that may be a challenge for some, but not for Tyron Jacobs, who has been in the Army for 4 years and is a regular to the mountains of Region 8.
I live in the interior, so I get accustomed with mountains, so it will be easy for me.
But it's not just the climb that one has to look out for in trekking up Mount Ayanganna.
The bush cow, he do his track right there too. Yes. But here now, this area here is the bushmaster and the other snakes.
I heard it get a lot of snakes, and it's a normal thing. You get like rattlesnakes. Most time I was be to understand. From the villagers, there are a lot of rattlesnakes around here.
On the expedition, the man to cater for any casualties or snake bites is Staff Sergeant Raphael, a native of Karasabai in the South Rupununi.
The casualties might be like a snake bite somebody. If somebody get bite with snake, of course I have to do I have to know to manage, and maybe cuts. Yes, so minor injuries. I hope. I'm hoping not a snake bite, because snake bite is something serious that need to be evacuated right away.
Regardless of the challenges, this mission has one purpose.
We have to make sure we raise the goal in our head. You know, like as a soldier, it's something like you gotta make it. You don't give up. You have to make it, and always ready. So I'm a person, I don't give up. If I have to climb, there is it.
For Sergeant Guy Nash, who has done this 10 times before, there is a deep sense of purpose and fulfillment in planting the flag on Mount Ayanganna.
Every time you come down, it's like you're a new person, right? A new man then. It's not you no more. Yes. You feel good. It's a good feeling.
The flag is a country's most important national symbol, defining authority as an independent nation and serving as the embodiment of the aspirations of the people and their inherent pride of being one Guyana.
This flag means what it is to be Guyanese. That's what it means.
With the mission to take the soldiers to the foot of Mount Ayanganna complete, we take off. The nation awaits to hear from them Tuesday night at the independence celebrations the message that they have reached the summit and that the golden arrowhead has been planted atop the mountain, and with it this plaque bearing the names of the courageous men who made the journey full of pride.
Adrenaline high, very high. Excited to raise the flag at the top.
Reporting for the Newsroom, Neil Marks. When the Newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport. back to the newsroom. It's time for sport, and we begin with track and field news. The Guyana Olympic Association will fund the airfare for 7 athletes and 2 officials to attend the Senior South American Athletics Championships in Ecuador from May 28th to the 30th. The event was initially slated for May the 14th to the 16th in Argentina, but was moved due to a spike in COVID-19 cases there. More in this report from Akeem Green.
GOA President K.A. Manyassin made the disclosure on Saturday that the Olympic Association will be funding the airfare of those athletes. These championships will give Guyanese athletes a chance to qualify for this year's Olympic Games in Tokyo.
I think this may be the largest contingent that may be going to the South American Championships. What is important to note in this team is that there will be a 4x100 male relay team. And we are looking at the future as regards the relay. We have decided to name the persons who we will issue tickets for. And those persons are Jasmine Abrams, Andrea Foster, Emmanuel Archibald, Kwamel Prince, Winston George, Arenzi Chance, Nolex Holder. And the 7th person, we gave that option to the AAG to select that person to try to fit in with the relay team.
Additionally, President of Athletics Association of Guyana, Aubrey Hudson, hopes that he can get support to send sprinter Jeremy Bascom so he can further boost the relay team.
He is currently ranked our #1 sprinter, and hence, please bear in mind, our sport is based on performance. It's not based on age or if the coach likes you. But our fastest sprinter for this year thus far is Mr. Jeremy Bascom. And I would like to see Jeremy on that team in the 4x1 relay. One good bit of news coming out of Ecuador is that we can go in from Wednesday, and in talking with the travel agency, we have to get in there on Wednesday leaving from Guyana, so the athletes would have at least 2 days of doing relay baton passing and that kind of stuff in practice to get that baton safely around the track at the time that we think that they can earn the qualifying standards for Tokyo.
Additionally, the AAG head revealed that high jumper Mark Jalu will also attend the championships on the back of the support from the Ghana Defense Force, and it will be a good test to assess how he performs on the international stage. Johnny Graves-Zandi will be the coach, mainly to provide technical assistance, particularly to the jumpers, while Kenisha Headley, who is also a certified coach, will be team manager. Devon Barrington, Jana McCammon, and Micah Washington are on the second string team, which the AG hopes to send if they can garner support from the government of Guyana. The AG is also hoping that athletes produce impressive performances in order to send a large contingent to the Olympic Games, and hopefully one of the athletes can progress to the final of his or her respective event. For the newsroom, Akeem Green.
The Guyana Olympic Association, the GOA, is encouraging all athletes and coaches who have intentions of going to the Olympic Games in Tokyo from July 23rd to August 8th to get their COVID-19 vaccines. Akeem Green has more.
GOA Vice President Dr. Karen Pilgrim said while it is not a necessity that athletes be vaccinated, she advised on Saturday that it is a sensible thing to do to further safeguard oneself and others.
I know there's a lot of resistance still in Guyana and around the world to being vaccinated, and we can't force anyone, I suppose, but we're really urging all athletes and officials for your own safety. It's a long flight. You don't know who you'll be exposed to just along the way. Your COVID test when you leave Guyana will mean almost nothing by the time you get to Japan in terms of the time it will take to travel. So please do go and get vaccinated.
Dr. Pilgrim, who is also a doping control officer, said all athletes competing for Guyana through the GOA are required to do anti-doping education within the year of competition.
All of our athletes should know that when they're representing GOA, they're required to do anti-doping education within that year. Of course, COVID threw everything topsy-turvy last year, but the WADA online platform, ADEL, anti-doping e-learning, has a multitude of courses, including some specifically targeting the Tokyo Olympics. So I'm just alerting athletes and coaches and all support personnel to the games to please go on Adele and do those courses. We'll send out an email within the next week, the coming week, to give instructions as to how to get onto that. It's a requirement, not a request in that case.
Additionally, GOA Treasurer Garfield Wilshire indicated that the International Olympic Committee has taken some initiatives with the Pan American Sport Organization with regards to encouraging athletes to be vaccinated.
There are a number of initiatives that they've taken with regards to this through the Pan Am Sports Organization. They've identified in Miami where they would give funding up to $500 for any athlete or who can get to Miami. They will administer the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and that's one dose, but the requirement is that it's administered 30 days before you go to Japan. There's another initiative also by the Pan Am Sports where you can also go to Houston, and the vaccine will be administered actually at the airport. So you can actually go to the fly-in, get the vaccine, and do a turnaround and fly out on the same day.
The GOA Treasurer explained that all National Olympic Committees who will attend the Olympic Games are now mandated to have a COVID-19 officer, and in consultation with the Guyana Physiotherapy Association, they have identified Angelica Hola to perform the dual role. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
Ghana Olympic Association Treasurer Garfield Wilshire has explained that the 23-year-old Chelsea Edgell was granted a spot at the Games through the tripartite system, which only has 2 spots worldwide for table tennis, 1 male and female.
Chelsea Edgell has become the first Guyanese table tennis player to ever make the cut for the Olympic Games. She will held to this year's Games in Tokyo on a wildcard selection. According to Wilshire, her track record was a big factor in her accomplishing such a feat.
Got the excellent news of Chelsea Edgell being granted a tripartite through the tripartite system. Now it is amazing because in table tennis only 2 tripartite spots were allocated, 1 male and 1 female. And for Chelsea Edgell to be granted the 1 female tripartite spot was simply incredible. And the Guyana Olympic Association and the Guyana Table Tennis Association, and I think all Guyana should be proud of her and the amount of work that she's putting over the past 2 years. And obviously the ITTF looked at her performances during these past 2 years and realized that the amount of work that she's put in, and also the fact that I think that she is on an Olympic Solidarity Scholarship, I think that might have played a part in her being granted this tripartite spot.
Edgell had indicated it would require serious investment for her to be at her best at the July-August Global Showpiece, and GOA President K.A. Yasin said they have asked Guyana Table Tennis Association President and GOA Vice President Godfrey Monroe to prepare a proposal.
I want to compliment Mr. Monroe. I spoke to him yesterday and this morning about Chelsea. And we have asked him, the GOA, we have asked Mr. Monroe to come up with a plan how they plan for her to be able to practice and put herself in readiness for Tokyo. I'm hoping that by Monday we should be able to get something from him. Once we get that, we'll have a press conference next week so you could know what the plans are. Not only for him, but for Miguel Young, who has already qualified for the Cali Games, which will be held in Cali, Colombia in November this year. So this week, the ball is on Godfrey to come up with a plan.
The Caribbean Under-21 gold medalist recently revealed how she navigated representing the nation, mainly on the back of the financial support of her parents, and they are most elated to know she will attend the Games. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
Overseas-based Guyanese Reynard Jeffrey won the senior category of the Guyana Cycling Federation's national time trial in Linden on Saturday, while young Alex Leong, Suzanne Hamilton and Stephen Finance emerged as the other category champions. Team Foundation's rider Jeffrey, currently based in the USA, completed the 12-mile course in 28 minutes, 55.48 seconds, followed by Curtis Day and Christopher Griffith with 32 minutes, 16.28 seconds. We Stand United's 13-year-old cyclist Leong was the top junior and juvenile competitor, finishing the ride in 17 minutes and 38 seconds. Sherwin Sampson and Aaron Newton ended second and third respectively. In the 10-mile female race, Hamilton was fastest with a time of 19 minutes and 59.2 seconds, followed by Travessa Spencer and Shanika Teixeira. The Masters also completed for 12 miles with Team Evolution's Finance recording the best time of 31 minutes and 37.84 seconds. It was followed by Paul Chuinam and Jaikaran Sukai. At the end of Sunday's grueling 100-mile race to determine the 2021 Senior National Cycling Champion, the expectation was that a winner would immediately be known upon the finish. However, the Guyana Cycling Federation has placed the official results on hold after riders called for a review. Britton John, Romello Crawford, Paul Dinobriga, Christopher Griffith and Walter Grant Stewart crossed the finish line in that order, but there's the issue of whether John would have breached the race rules by not holding his lane in the frenetic finish.
Open up,
It means that we need to send it to the proper authority, all right, which is the UCI, which is the governing body of cycling. We have rear camera video and we have front camera video of the last 200 meters of this event. We will be sending off this information to the UCI, and depending on their decision, that will be final. At this time, we do not have an official winner. We do apologize that all the curtains could not have come down at this time, but we would like to say that we are happy to be bringing cycling live and showing the love of cycling still in Guyana. Because as much as we're in a pandemic, we still have the youngsters very energetic, very motivated to ride. And that is the most important thing.
That's our broadcast for this evening. I'm Neil Marks. Remember, you can get breaking news and sport at Newsroom.gy. Take care.